So, I was genuinely surprised by how much I love Wonder Woman. Despite Remus Lupin being kind of a ridiculous villain. Especially when you consider the only big movies starring superheroines like Catwoman and Elektra, films I admittedly unabashedly love for all the wrong reasons, are god-awful, overly sexualized filmmaking catastrophes. I think it's partly because, despite its relatively formulaic plotting and the fact that it's just one of the seemingly billion superhero movies that have come out in the last decade, it actually felt kind of refreshing and unique and even revolutionary in a shattering the glass ceiling sort of way. It wasn't just because of the female protagonist in a genre dominated by men, or director Patty Jenkins and her welcome assault on the straight male gaze. Fuck you, Justice League. There's a reason no one liked you. Or the fact that Diana Prince is supremely intrinsically good, loving, and sincere, in a way many of her cynical male cohorts aren't. Neither weakened by nor expunged of her compassion and optimism and femininity. It's the fact that it places the man, in this case Chris Pine's Steve Trevor, in the role of sidekick slash love interest slash someone that needs saving. A role that's usually occupied by women like Lois Lane or Mary Jane or Pepper Potts, and does so in a way that does not depower or dehumanize him. In fact, the relationship actually felt, dare I say, equal? The thing is, I actually know a lot of people, both men and women, who thought Steve Trevor got far too much screen time and characterization, especially when you compare him to other superhero love interests. They thought it undermined the feminism at the film's core, and the whole message behind this being the first big female superhero movie in forever. Clearly, producers thought the film needed a man to help carry it, one that would act as the main attractor for male audiences due to the prevalent belief that men won't watch a movie centered on a woman. And trust me, I get that argument. But I also find something extremely problematic about that. I hate this idea that feminism is about society doing a complete 180 on gender roles and having men be marginalized or reduced into one-dimensional creatures the same way women are now. Contrary to what some believe, feminism is not centered on men enduring the same oppression that women have endured for centuries. Instead of asking less for men, we should be asking more for women. Look, Wonder Woman is not a perfect intersectional feminist film. It's severely lacking a woman of color or any visible LGBT characters, though non-heteronormative sexuality is at least alluded to in this one great scene.
They came to the conclusion that men are essential for procreation, but when it comes to pleasure, unnecessary.
No.
But that does not mean it is not important, and that it does not do some things right. Steve Trevor, in my opinion, is one of them. I honestly don't view Steve Trevor as taking anything away from Wonder Woman. The exact opposite, actually. In a way, it's unfair that Steve Trevor gets to be the superhero girlfriend that no other superhero girlfriend like Jane Foster or Mary Jane does. But if Wonder Woman is the heroine we deserve, she needs a love interest that deserves her. Their initial reaction to one another is not one of immediate attraction, but one of pure fascination with each other. Steve gets to be the audience surrogate, trade banter with Diana, learn her history and values while sharing some of his own. Their friendship organically evolves into a romance, and when they consummate the relationship, it's very respectful and sweet, and you never get the sense that this is anything other than what Diana wants right now. Throughout the film, Steve genuinely respects Diana, and they work together. He never thinks he's better than her, even if he's not always sure she's doing the right thing. And whenever he is saved or helped by Diana, he is never framed as completely weak or helpless.
Step back. Or maybe not.
At the end of the film, he sacrifices his life for the greater good, on his own terms, thinking of Diana's devotion to acting when no one else will. So often, dying love interest takes the form of fridging, a device where a character is killed off solely to inflict pain and inspire action from the hero. But Steve's death isn't a fridging. His death is noble, allows him his own agency, and completes his character arc. It hurts Diana, but it doesn't function solely to provoke her to action. And because Steve is a fully realized character, blessed with desires, faults, and merits of his own, it never feels manipulative. Steve Trevor's characterization does nothing to challenge Wonder Woman's power or heroism. It only proves that superhero girlfriends deserve so much better. In movies like Man of Steel, or Thor, or Spider-Man, the female love interests are essentially interchangeable plot devices, barely adding anything to the plot beyond proof of the hero's sexiness. They're sidekicks, they fall in love, they're captured by evil men. Sometimes they're just as smart, strong, sassy, and brave as their male counterparts. Rarely, however, do they get to save the day.
You have a knack for getting in trouble.
You have a knack for saving my life.
It's interesting to me how, generally, when women are the designated love interests in films, they're often thinly drawn characters of very little substance. They're to further the far more powerful male hero story, but not much else. Yet when the tables are turned and you have a story with a female protagonist being crafted by a woman, the male love interest is treated with mutual respect and given nuance and personality. I mean, even in some of the most cliched and vapid romantic comedies that are allegedly meant to be pure romantic fantasies for straight women, the male love interests still tend to have far more characterization and humanity than most female love interests in these male-centered films. It makes it seem as though men actually desire the woman they love being nothing more than something nice to look at and occasionally protect, a person with no dreams or life or self-respect of her own. Romantic and sexual partners should never be portrayed as rewards or requirements or something less than, as not really people. Honestly, male and female love interests should not be given the label love interest at all. They should be actual human characters, ones that are integral to the success of the story. Wonder Woman grants us an amazing example of how men and women can interact in an actual equal partnership. Even though Diana is physically stronger than Steve, she never tries to take away his agency. She doesn't want to see him in danger, but she also lets him handle what he can handle. She has faith that he will come through when she needs him, and he has faith in her. They were a legitimate team. That is my fantasy.